Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review round 10 of the 2025 NRL Supercoach season. I guess the average week for us, we scored a 13.44, which was only good enough for the top 40% rank of the round, and did see a slide about 7,000 spots. So I guess saving the trades didn't really work out the best for us in that sense, and definitely didn't help us with the leagues where we did not get a single win. So no confetti, just scores. But Wade Egan, 57 is respectable. We'll lock that in. Payne Haas is our captain, so I did have Terrell May as the captain, but watching the first half of that Knights game, it didn't look like Ponga was going to be in the shout for captaincy. So I thought I did back Payne Haas in against South forward pack. I didn't quite realise that they had shifted Arrow and Kyle Matangi into the front row, which I think is a pretty smart move from Benny. So I guess what that left us with was we went Payne Haas as captain, and 89 is definitely a solid captaincy score. But unfortunately there was some bigger ones going around. Terrell May was 72, would have still been fine in what was a well-beaten side. He was the one shining light there for the Tigers. So, he just keeps trucking along. Hamish Stewart with a 48, generating a bit of cash, which is nice. Big Tino with another massive performance, 98 points for him. Mitch Barnett was good with an 83. So this is, I guess, what we were hoping for from the start of the year, but better late than never. Lockie Hubner scored 50 points. It was, I think they said it in the commentary, just any time Haas was on the ball, he was in the tackle, just an absolute machine. Has lost a little bit of cash, but his break even should start to reset now. So 28 this week is good. Dylan Egan, 83, another try for him. Seems to find a way into the try. So he's killing it, making cash, still got a good break even, negative break even. So massive pick there. Horsburgh was laid out, so we just played Hubner, which was fine. Cleary with the 77, solid. Hughes with the 105 in that carve up, so good thing we held him this week. Campbell with an 86, so back in the team and scoring pretty well. And Metcalf, so despite, I guess, sort of playing a fairly dominant role, scored a try, kicked the winning field goal, but only 56. So probably if he wasn't on playing round 12 next week, he'd be on the chopping block. Made his cash, and there is a downgrade option this week. In the centre wing, again, fairly solid performances from Kiraz with the 78, Farnworth with an 84. Fermor with the 59 is okay, and Marzu with the 60 was good, but he has found himself on the injury list. We played Tamale with the 35, was quite quiet in that game against the Dogs, which I guess we could have anticipated given the Dogs' defence, but he's not necessarily trade out. He does play next week, which is super useful. And then fullback Iongi was good with an 83. I think he scored a try late, or he definitely scored a try, but I think he did make some points up late, which was nice. And Kalen Ponga, we were hoping he'd go big against the Titans, 33. And, we look at some of the scores this week, this is a big reason why. So it may be time to move on from KP. If we have a look at the game day, so we were up against number one in the league, in the first league. No spoon this year for Gary. Absolutely not if he's scoring a 16.25. So, we're losing 300 points on these guys. It's not good. But look at his team. He's got Fletcher Sharp for an 89, which is nice. Scotty Drinkwater with a 117 is killing us. Nanai with an 81 was good this week. Captain Pappenhausen with his 172. That's insane. Fanua Blake with an 88. Nicara Hines were both solid, 76 apiece. And And, no real dud scores there. Like, the lowest is, 50, as opposed to 35 for Tamale. The fact that my VC got dropped out of the scoring just suggests how much I'm struggling. Having a look through, I might have been done by the highest score in the league. There's a 1624 for the Viking Warriors, 1621 for Athos City, so 1610. So a few low 1600s, but Gary gets it for the first league this week. So well done, Gary. Got done by updates in the second one. I was actually ahead of the Bogabilla Sloss, Liam's team, but the last minute updates have done me. And it's probably Pappenhausen's update to 182. So I think he was 170 odd before updates. And I haven't obviously followed it since then. But he captained Cleary, so I did get the captaincy right against him. But yeah, it's just Pappy was too hard to cover this week. But looking through, we've got a 1650. So that's the highest one so far. So QP filled Taco, Julian's team. So he had Dylan Brown, Kiraz, Aaron Clark with a 103. Is he second row hooker? No, second row front row. So pretty handy dual position still. Scotty Drinkwater and Pappenhausen. So yeah, those fullbacks are killing me. Purdue with an 85. So we have traded out Purdue, but actually it was a long time ago in this format. Continues to burn us. Cam Munster with a 138 as well. So Dylan Lucas with a 90, so some monster scores in there, which is fantastic work there, Julian. And then another 1600 against, this time Hull White Star, Oliver's team with a 1654. So a lot of the same, Lucas, Sharp, Haas, Drinkwater, Captain Pappy, Munster, Ellie Katoa. So all the difference makers just carving up. But there is a 1700, a 1767. Holy wow. We'll have a look how that stacks up overall too. So Ibrahim, the Savage Bulldogs, gotta love the name and the logo. So more than happy for him to score 1767. So he had Farnworth, Sharp, had Crosslands 35 and still got a 1700. Wow. Kickow, Purdue, Captain Pappy, Jerome Hughes, had Munster and Drinkwater, Tino. So yeah, pretty much other than Crossland, every one of his picks just went off, which is fantastic. Well done, Ibrahim. We'll have a look at the overall league as well, see if there's anything can beat a 1767. I can't sort it by points, that's a bit annoying. But just looking through a couple of 1700s, but low 17s. Don't think there'll be anyone that deep. So Hans Felt by Haas, so combining a few names there. Nice one. Rainier, I don't know if I've featured this team yet this year, so we'll have a look at the 1713. So Riley Smith at hooker was good with the 60. Kalal Matangi, especially when he gets dual position. If he keeps playing the front row, will be nice. Drinkwater and Pappy again, and Munster killing me. So it's like, yeah, 51 was the lowest there for Nicholson, and then not too much below a 70 after that. So fantastic stuff there. I think we've hit all the big names, but just in case, let's have a look. So Xavier Coates with a 131. So the top three all coming from that game yesterday. Arvo. Blaze Talangi, a 112. Interesting for next week. Round 12 if you need cover. Super pod at 2.3%. But without the Origin guys, does that scoring hold? Vilea, so I don't know if I've still got him in draft, but he was massive with a 112. Phil Sammy with a 111 was quite good. A couple of tries, I think, for the Titans. Stephen Crichton, talk about immense. Here is just a one-man wrecking ball out on that edge against the Raiders in the second half. A 104, but he should feature for New South Wales in a couple of weeks. AJ Brimson, sounds like he's defecting to England. which basically means he won't be playing Origin. So it could be a sneaky pot at 500k, dual position, very nice. Bronson Garlic, so I saw a bit of chat about trading him in. You know, he's made 90k. I don't know if there's that much value in the pick. He won't play next week. And Harry Grant might be back as soon as this week anyway. So I think that's a massive trap for anyone looking there. IPAP on the bye this week, so not worrying about Panthers too much. Yeah, I think Max King, try-scoring machine, 88. But yeah, I think we've featured most of the big hitters this week. Should have a look at break-evens as well. The obvious one this week, King Togia. So only scored 33, but negative 51 break-even at bottom dollar does open up some opportunities in our team. So probably, you know, number one traded in this week, I'd imagine. Corey Allen, you know, if you are looking for a cheap centre wing to cash out an option, he's negative break even. Not sure on the job security. Would have to check the injury list for the Dragons. Oh, I don't know if you can go there with Brendan Piakura, you know, but I guess if you do need a cheap second rower, he'd be the one this week. Tui Vaiti did his ankle, I believe, and has gone for surgery, so he is not a trade in this week. Dylan Egan, I mean, if you see him as a keeper, would be the only reason to bring him in now. Yeah, who else? Whiten didn't play, still injured, so no. Patia was a cheap option, 21 on the bye this week, but you know should offer a bit of coverage given Penrith are playing without their Origin players in round 12. Other than that, it's nothing too much. And no, I think that's about it. So I guess what that means for my team this week is obviously if we do want to access the King Togia money, we need to trade one of these guys. There's obviously pros and cons for each one. So if you base it on, you know, season-long keepers, well then Metcalf would definitely be in the firing line. But at the moment, he is the only half that is playing in round 12. So, well, Cleary technically is with the Panthers, but you'd imagine he'll be playing for New South Wales. But Hughes and Campbell are both on the bye, but both coming off good scores. And, you know, both viable options this week. So what I'm thinking, and it seems pretty wild, but I'm actually going to trade Cleary given he's not playing the next 2 weeks. And that gives us a couple of weeks of this King Togia money. And then what I'm thinking is Cleary could actually come back in for Metcalf. So we push Metcalf into the halves. We bring in LKT wherever he is. I've gone too far. There he is, 116. So he has one decent price rise in him thanks to that 80 in the first game. Alright, we'll see how he goes from there. He won't play next week, so we're no better off in the halves for round 12, but we've got cover across the board, so we're not too stressed about that. But what that does give us is a fair chunk of change to fix up our team, and I guess the obvious place to fix up is at fullback, and in particular Kalen Ponga. So the two obvious choices are Paps and Drinky. They both don't play next week, but to be fair, Kalen Ponga wasn't going to play next week either, being in Origin. So I shouldn't have been so stubborn with the Ponga pick in hindsight. But it's just, you know, you're paying 800k or 900k. And, you know, they're break even, so 54 for Drinkwater, he could hit that. Perhaps with just the 10. So, you know, just in terms of the money and the break even, we're bringing Paps this week. You know, we've got 370, so I don't even think if we hit the boost, I don't think we could quite get from Miongi up. Yeah, we're just short. That's stiff. You know, like obviously if you want to be aggressive, that would be the play, but we can't even do it. But Iongi's still going to make a bit of cash. He's going to play next week, which is obviously a big part of it. And we are saving our boost for that last sort of buy period. That's the master plan. So this doesn't particularly change our current round 12 setup, but it just does give us a few more points this week, given Cleary's not playing anyway. Pappy is going to outscore Ponga, and we may not necessarily even have to play LKT. So these will be the moves. I can imagine, unless there's some sort of mystery injury. I know Marzu is injured, so if we had a bit more flexibility, we could have shuffled someone in the centres and got Drinky that way. But, that's fine. We can work around him this week. So speaking of which, so Raiders have the Titans. So yes to Tamale coming in. Campbell, Metcalf, Hughes in the halves. So yeah, Metcalf does play first, so we'll just bench Hughes. Might just drop these guys off. Teddy's got to be in the conversation. Who plays last out of those two? Pappy or... Yeah, so Tedesco plays fairly early, so we'll push him into the field. Yep, up front, so we can bring Nafahu White back into the team. I think we can probably push Egan on. It's Horsburgh's. He was only HIA, wasn't he? He'll probably be back this week too. So it could be like that. I don't think we play the Roosters outside backs against the Dogs, given the defensive solidity of the boys. I just realised there's no Thursday game this week either. What's happened there? Don't know. Oh, we'll cop no Thursday game. That's fine. Gives us more time to do our trades too, so that's a win. Sandon Smith we won't play against the Dogs, so I think the Bulldogs are a bit light in the middle, so if anyone's going to do alright, it's probably the forwards. But he plays pretty early, so Terrell May against South. Is he in the captaincy conversation? It's probably between him and Haas, so we'll just leave them both on field. Horsburgh can go on the bench. Probably Tino can go on the bench in that Sunday Arvo game too. Probably not quite in the captaincy shout. Cool. So in terms of vice captain and captain, sounds a bit counterproductive, but I think Teddy against the Dogs is the obvious vice captain, given he plays early in the round and he can always go big against anyone, and it's a little bit of insurance against not playing these other Roosters assets. Iongi against the Knights, the way they're going, isn't the worst shout either. I guess if you do have a Fletcher Sharp, he'd be a prime VC candidate against Para, but I don't have him. And then the likes of Pappy probably plays a bit late in the week, and the Sharks at home should be a bit better than what they have been. That's the theory anyway. So, might just wrap this up here. We'll leave it as is. Haas or May as captain, not sure. We'll do all that in the round preview. Probably out Thursday, although it could be Friday with the later time this week. But that's the potential moves there. I'll highlight them. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the Supercoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.